like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, fight fans, buckle up. We're diving deep into UFC Fight Night 249. And let me tell you, this one was a wild ride. We're breaking down all the action from MMA Junkies coverage, UFC Fight Night 249, Dern versus Reas updates, results of every fight.
This card was stacked. 14 fights, and it felt like every single one had something crazy happen.
Yeah, we're talking finishes, upsets, and we got to talk about that controversial ending. So we're going to go beyond just who won and lost. We'll look at what made this event so memorable.
Exactly. We're talking the standout moments, the fighters who made a statement, the stuff you need to know.
Let's kick things off with the main event. Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas 2. This was the rematch everyone was waiting for.
This one had all the hype.
Ribas was the betting favorite going in.
Right, sure.
I mean, everyone knows Dern's jiu-jitsu is legendary, but Reas is just so well-rounded. I was expecting a real clash of styles.
And that's exactly what we got. Right from the first bell, you could feel the tension.
Oh, yeah.
Dern came out aggressive, pushing the pace with those leg kicks. Then, bam, she gets the takedown in round one.
She was hunting for that submission the whole time.
Like a shark.
And Ribas, she's no slouch on the ground. She defended well, but you can tell Dern was patient, waiting for her moment.
Round two was nonstop action.
It was crazy.
Ribas got a reversal, but Dern opened up a cut on her with an elbow during the scramble.
And then there was that near omoplata.
Oh, yeah, that was close.
Ribas countered with some brutal knees, though.
Back and forth, back and forth. It was insane.
Then Dern gets that slick sweep, ends up on top, controlling Ribas.
That's what makes Dern so dangerous. She's relentless. Even when it seems like her opponent is gaining an advantage, she's always a threat.
And man, that third round, talk about a nail biter.
Ribas got another takedown early.
But Dern wouldn't let go of that arm bar.
And with just 5 seconds left on the clock,
5 seconds?
bam, she gets the tap.
Unbelievable.
For those who don't know, an armbar is a submission hold that hyperextends the elbow joint, forcing your opponent to tap out. Dern's a master of that technique.
This win had to feel incredible for her.
Absolutely.
It wasn't just about the win. She avenged that loss to Ribas, and I think it really solidifies her as a top contender.
No doubt this puts her right in the title conversation.
Now let's talk about Santiago Ponzinibbio. He had a comeback for the ages against Carlston Harris.
This fight, this was a testament to Ponzinibbio's heart.
It didn't look good for him that first round.
2 knockdowns, courtesy of Harris's power punches.
He was rocked. Most fighters wouldn't have recovered from that.
He was on wobbly legs.
But he weathered the storm.
Pure toughness.
And then that third round,
It was like a switch flipped.
he came out with this fire in his eyes, even though he was behind on the scorecards.
And then, bam, out of nowhere, he explodes with this flurry of strikes and finishes with a TKO.
What a turnaround.
It was a reminder that in MMA, anything can happen.
This win was huge for Ponzinibbio.
He's had some setbacks, but this puts him right back in the mix.
Now, we got to talk about the knockout of the night. Cesar Almeida against Abdulrazak Al-Hassan.
If you haven't seen this knockout, go watch it right now.
Seriously, it was beautiful.
Come from behind knockouts are always the best.
Everyone knew Al-Hassan was the aggressor. He's known for his power.
And Almeida, he's more of a counter-striker.
That's how the fight started. Al-Hassan swinging for the fences, looking for that knockout.
He even dropped Almeida early in the first.
It looked like it was over.
But Almeida is tough. He took those shots and waited for his opening.
And then, boom, that left hook.
Lights out.
It was perfect.
Almeida's composure in that moment was incredible.
So now let's talk about the fight that had everyone debating. Roman Kopylov versus Chris Curtis.
This one went down to the wire, and that ending.
Yeah, a lot of people were scratching their heads.
Both guys are known for their striking.
It was a slugfest.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Blood, an eye poke that stopped the action.
That eye poke was nasty.
And then in the final seconds, Kopylov lands that head kick.
Clean shot.
Curtis goes down,
Yeah.
but he's trying to get up.
And that's when the ref steps in and stops it.
Curtis was not happy.
He was arguing that he was still in the fight.
It was a tough call for the ref.
Some people thought it was an early stoppage. Others thought the ref made the right call.
It was definitely controversial.
That's what makes the sport so great, though, right?
The drama, the unpredictability.
It keeps you guessing.
And speaking of excitement, we have to shout out some other fighters who had incredible performances. Let's start with Punahele Soriano. That 31-second knockout of Uros Medic was brutal.
It was like something out of a highlight reel.
Set the tone for the whole night.
That kind of power is scary.
Then there was Felipe Boons. That armbar win over Jose Johnson was amazing.
That scramble was insane.
Boone's was relentless.
A thing of beauty for jiu-jitsu fans.
And we can't forget about Fatima Klein, the first finish of 2025.
TKO victory over Victoria Dudikova.
She was dominant. That ground and pound was relentless.
Those elbows were brutal.
Now let's talk about some of the betting odds upsets.
This card had some real surprises.
Christian Rodriguez over Austin Bashi, that was a shocker.
Bashi was a heavy favorite, but Rodriguez showed incredible resilience.
And Punahele Soriano knocking out Uros Medic, that was another big upset.
Medic was supposed to be the more technical striker, but Soriano just overwhelmed him.
These upsets show you can never underestimate anyone in this sport.
That's what makes it so exciting.
So this event was a roller coaster.
Finishes, comebacks, controversy, upsets, it had it all.
And we're just getting started with our deep dive into this event. There are more fights to break down, more insights to uncover. Stay tuned.
We've talked about some of the big fights, the ones that everyone's buzzing about, but this card, it was packed with action from top to bottom.
There were so many great performances.
Yeah, there are always these hidden gems, fights that might not get the same hype, but still deliver.
Absolutely. Those are the fights where you see the future of the sport.
The up-and-comers, hungry to prove themselves.
And UFC Fight Night 249, man, it had some impressive prospects.
One fighter who really stood out to me was Marco Tulio, making his UFC debut.
He was a huge favor going in.
Undefeated record, known for his aggressive striking.
There were high expectations, and he delivered.
Yeah, even with those accidental clashes.
That low blow on Poti area, that looked rough.
He needed a few minutes to recover.
But Tulio just kept the pressure on.
He dropped Potiria with that right hand.
Swarmed him on the ground.
Finished it with some brutal ground and pound.
That was a statement win.
No doubt he made a name for himself.
Speaking of impressive debuts, Bruno Lopes also stepped into the octagon for the first time.
He had a tough opponent in Magomed Gaziasilov.
That was a grind, a real back-and-forth battle.
Lots of clinch work, takedown attempts.
Lopes showed off his wrestling skills.
He controlled the fight.
It wasn't the flashiest fight, but it was a smart performance.
A great way to start your UFC career.
And then there's Thiago Moises, the veteran.
Picked up a solid decision win over Trey Ogden.
It might not have been the most action-packed, but it was a clinic in controlling a fight.
Moises, he had a game plan.
Leg kicks to slow Ogden down. Wear him out.
Then take him down, use that grappling.
It worked perfectly.
Moises might not have gotten the finish, but he fought smart.
Now, those betting odds upsets.
This card was full of surprises.
Christian Rodriguez over Austin Bashi.
Shocker.
Bashi was a heavy favorite, but Rodriguez showed he's the real deal.
He survived that early guillotine choke, showed great takedown defense.
And Punahele Soriano knocking out Uros Medic.
That was another big one.
Medic was supposed to be the more technical striker.
But Soriano's power and aggression, that was too much.
These upsets, they remind us that anything can happen in this sport.
You can never be too sure.
So we've seen some amazing fights, some crazy finishes, some real surprises.
This card had it all.
But there's more to this event than just the big names and the highlight reel knockouts.
We've got to dig deeper, look at the fights that might not have gotten as much attention.
The undercard, the prelims.
That's where you see the future of the sport.
The next generation of contenders.
The fighters who are working their way up, hungry for their shot.
And UFC Fight Night 249 had some real prospects on that undercard.
One fighter, Nurullo Aliyev, this guy really impressed me.
Yeah, staying undefeated.
With a decision win over Joe Selecki.
Tough fight.
Selecki's a veteran, been in there with some of the best.
Aliyev's grappling, though, especially in those first two rounds.
He was in control on the ground.
Escaping those submission attempts from Selecki.
That's not easy.
Selecki's a submission specialist.
To neutralize those attacks and keep top control, that takes skill.
Aliyev's definitely one to watch.
Yeah, lightweight division. Keep an eye on this guy.
Selecki did make a late surge in the third, though.
Trying to rally, but it was too little too late.
Aliyev didn't get flustered.
He stayed calm, stuck to his game plan.
Got the win.
And then there was Bruno Lopes, another successful debut.
That fight against Magomed Gaziasilov, that was a battle.
A real back and forth.
So much clinch work, grappling exchanges.
Lopes' wrestling, though, really impressive.
He controlled the fight.
Gaziasilov had his moments.
But Lopes always seemed to have an answer.
Definitely a fighter with potential.
And we got to mention Fatima Klein again.
That TKO over Victoria Dudikova.
Brutal.
She dominated that fight.
Those elbows, man.
Dudikova was hurt, and Klein just kept going.
They win for sure.
She's a contender in that strawweight division.
So, looking back on all these fights, what are the big takeaways for you?
MMA, it's a sport that's always evolving.
New fighters, new styles, new techniques.
They never stand still.
You got to keep improving, pushing your limits.
It's adapting.
We saw that at UFC Fight Night 249.
From the veterans to the newcomers,
Everyone brought it.
it was a night of upsets, comebacks, statement wins.
It makes you excited for what's next.
You know, in MMA, the only constant is change.
The landscape is always shifting.
New contenders, new rivalries.
It's an incredible story.
So as we wrap up our deep dive,
You want to leave you with one thought.
this event, it was unpredictable, dynamic, full of surprises.
Just like the sport itself.
They saw fighters defying expectations,
Overcoming adversity.
achieving their dreams.
That's what makes MMA so inspiring.
It's a reminder that anything is possible.
So keep watching, fight fans.
The next chapter is just around the corner.
And who knows what surprises it might hold.
Keep training, keep learning, keep that fighting spirit alive.
Until next time.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're Bobby doll. Show them all what